Should I text them all to just say it's?
We're starting, yeah. Did you see what I did? My account, it's the same every time. Meetings, county board meeting. Right. Open Zoom meeting. It's just like we do downstairs. Okay, this is important. Change. Click on participant, more, rename, change it to council chambers. We'll do this next week. Even though it says, remember for next time, I always have to do it. It's just like, I don't know why.
Thought it was me. I thought it was me before. I'm like, what's going on with my computer?
Yeah, me too. Hanging up on you.
Okay. Oh, thanks, dear. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
People for the proclamation.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for the note, Victoria. I was like going crazy on all three of my devices. I was like, okay, which one might I be able to get in on?
Well, and I was like, what am I doing wrong?
I know.
But Janet was so busy trying to get it all straightened out, and so I told her I would send the text. So.
Thank you. Well, it was wild. I said to Melissa, she goes, did you turn your computer on and off? I'm like, yeah, I'd always try that first.
Yeah, it's on.
Well, my daughter-in-law is at Regent's Hospital right now. They're just doing some tests and stuff. But so we've got the grandchildren here.
Testing,
so we've
one,
got
two. This is
literally
podium mic
school going
test.
on in 2 different rooms.
See if the
And me in here.
Excuse me, are the commissioners
Welcome
able
to my
to hear us?
world.
I'm just amazed that you have a lot else going on like that.
Excuse me, can the commissioners hear we are in the chambers, can you hear this microphone?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, okay, good. Thank you.
Good morning, Shelley.
Good morning.
Kelly, good morning.
Good morning, Rebecca.
Good morning.
Fun to see you.
Really good to see everybody.
You hear me?
Yeah. Yes. All right. So, is everybody here? No. Yep. Everybody's here. Are we ready to start, Janet?
Madam Chair, we're ready in the chambers.
Could you hold up your sign, please?
You guys hear
Yes,
me?
I will.
Do you hear me?
We can.
Yes, Raphael. The Ramsey County Board of Commissioners meeting is now called to order. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Fretham?
She said here, but you can barely hear her.
Here.
Thank you.
There we go.
Matas Castillo?
Here.
McDonough?
Here.
McGuire?
Here.
Ortega?
Aye.
Reinhardt?
Here.
Carter?
Here. Thank you very much. Commissioner Fretham, would you please say the Pledge of Allegiance for us while we all mute?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. So we are starting our board meeting, and we do have the agenda of October 27th before you.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second. Any comments, discussion? Would the clerk please call the roll?
Fretham?
Aye.
Matas Castillo?
Aye.
McDonough?
Aye.
McGuire?
Aye.
Ortega,
Aye.
Reinhardt,
Aye.
Carter.
Aye, thank you very much. The agenda has passed, and we have the minutes of the October 20th meeting. Is there a motion in the second?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Would the clerk please call the roll?
Fretham,
Aye.
Modis Castillo,
Aye.
McDonough,
Aye.
McGuire,
Aye.
Ortega,
Aye.
Reinhardt,
Aye.
Carter.
Aye, thank you very much. We have a couple of recognitions before us. In the next portion of our agenda, I'm going to call on Commissioner Modis Castillo for the first, which is in recognition of Project Remand. Commissioner Modis Castillo.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. It's with my honor to present the proclamation for Project Remand, which reads, whereas Project Remand has faithfully served Ramsey County and its residents for 45 years, providing pre-trial services and administering evidence-based risk assessments to provide valuable information to the court and justice system partners necessary for making pretrial release decisions that maximize liberty and protect public safety. And whereas Project Remand established the First Division Services programming for Ramsey County and its residents in 1994 and has worked in collaboration with justice system partners continuously since then to provide programming to offer alternatives to prosecution through the interventions that promote personal change and accountability and lead to second chances while promoting public safety. And whereas Project Remand has provided a number of essential services and interventions for decades, including pretrial monitoring, intensive supervision, risk assessments, diversion programming, employment referrals, treatment court screenings, treatment referrals, community service connections, pretrial domestic abuse GPS monitoring, an array of other services and invaluable partnership with justice systems partners. And whereas Project Remand and their staff have worked hard to honor the principles of promoting positive behavioral change, offering opportunity for change, holding people accountable, providing support to crime victims, and protecting public safety. Therefore, be it proclaimed, the Ramsey County Board of Commissioners declares October 26th through the 30th, 2020 as Project Remand Recognition Week in Ramsey County. And now I would like to introduce Tammy McConkey, who is from our Ramsey County Attorney's Office, who is accepting this proclamation on behalf of Project Remand. Tammy, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, commissioners, and to all of you on the board. I'm a division director in the county attorney's office, but I've had the privilege of serving on the Project Remand board for the last 8 years, and I've been so proud to do so. As our criminal justice system has relied on Project Remand for different release supervision, we've been able to really have a lot of confidence in them and have been proud of them when they've been willing to try new projects like GPS, which was a real leader, and it's just been great to work with them, and I am so honored to accept this on their behalf, and I'll make sure that they get it. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Tammy, and thank you to Commissioner Modis Castillo for the presentation of that recognition of a partner that has been working with us for so very many years here in Ramsey County, has conducted hundreds of thousands of pretrial screenings and managed alternatives to help reduce our jail population, to help ensure that people in our community are able to do well outside of our jails. And we just cannot express our greatest appreciation. We simply can't put it into words. The work that they have done has been phenomenal, and not only have they done all of this work over those large numbers of years, they have also been at the table with us, helping to design a change and a movement toward next phases of reform in our justice system. And I just want to say thank you so very much to all. This has been an invention of system and community. And it continues to be that we work together at the table and have with Project Remand on next steps. Our thanks and appreciation to them once again. I'm going to look now to Commissioner McDonough for our next recognition, which is regarding Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Commissioner McDonough.
Thanks, Chair Carter. I want to take a moment here before I get into the proclamation and recognize that Shelley and Rebecca are here from the St. Paul Ramsey County Intervention Program. And
oh, thank you.
Shelley, I know you had your vigil last night. My apologies. I planned on being there, but I have a slight cough and a minor sore throat. And in the past, I would show up, but not in this environment of a COVID pandemic would I even think of showing up. So my thoughts were with you last night. Hope you had a good turnout for your vigil. You guys do great work there. I want to take a moment here. The Ramsey County Board of Commissioners, every year we recognize domestic violence and the impact it has in our community, but also to celebrate the folks like you and folks within Ramsey County that work on this every day to help keep people safe in our community and provide a resource and an opportunity for mostly moms and mostly women, but not always, and children that are impacted by domestic violence. So, whereas domestic violence is a pattern of behavior used to maintain
Sorry, Commissioner McDonough seems to have frozen on the screen.
and economic abuse.
Commissioner
imitation.
McDonough, Commissioner
Yes.
McDonough, I'm sorry, but you froze for us for about a half a minute.
Yes.
Maybe not quite that long. And so we're glad you're back. And maybe we'll go back a few sentences in your information that you're sharing. Thank you.
All right, I'll start over. Whereas domestic violence is pattern of behavior used to gain or maintain power and control over an intimate partner, and that domestic abuse in all forms and systems of oppression must be eliminated. Whereas domestic violence involves physical, sexual, psychological, and economic abuse, intimidation, isolation, and happens to 1 in every 3 women in their lifetime. Whereas domestic violence touches the lives of people of all ages, races, backgrounds, genders, gender identities, sexual orientations, spiritual beliefs, and circumstances when a home becomes a place of fear and hopelessness and leaves in its wake a devastating impact on the entire community. Whereas we voice compassion and pledge action for the families, friends, and communities that have experienced the anguish of domestic violence, and that as at least 16 women in Minnesota were killed by a current or former intimate partner in 2019. And at least 5 more friends, family, or bystanders lost their lives during a domestic violence incident. Whereas we further voice our compassion and commitment for the 37 children in Minnesota who lost mothers in this past year due to domestic violence, in which 23 of those children were minors and 4 were present at the time of their mother's murder or the discovery of her body. Whereas Ramsey County is recognized as a national leader for its groundbreaking response to domestic violence, ranging from the critical work of the Ramsey County attorneys, community corrections, and sheriff's offices, to our community center, social services, public health. We honor the pioneering work of community-based advocates who founded the nation's first shelter, have implemented culturally relevant approaches and responses, and have been instrumental in the creation of national models that reduce domestic violence and homicides. As a county, we acknowledge that solutions to end domestic violence will only happen with the commitment of our entire community to ensure the safety of victims, and in working tirelessly with our community-based partners in realizing an equitable and violence-free community for all. Now therefore be it proclaimed, Ramsey County Board of Commissioners declares October 2020 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Ramsey County. I have the proclamation signed by all the commissioners and the county manager. And again, I just want to reiterate our thanks not only to all the Ramsey County employees, you heard off the list of our various departments and leadership, and it comes from throughout the county, but to the community-based organizations who are typically right on the front lines helping provide safety for individuals in our community. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Commissioner McDonough. And I really had forgotten to recognize the two that are here with us, Rebecca and Shelley, and was just with them last night as we did a social distance event. I want to say welcome again. Thank you for the work that you do for us, and ask you for a few words as you are here with us. Thanks.
Thank you so much, commissioners. It's reaffirming every year when SPIP and our partners join with the Ramsey County Board of Commissioners to honor our community's commitment to serving victims of domestic violence and ensuring that all people are free from violence and oppression in their homes and neighborhoods. We have an amazing community. I know these past months have been very difficult for many, and they have been even more so for victims of domestic violence and their children. They are seemingly more isolated than ever now, and the degree and the types of violence have only risen. And this is experienced by our agency and many, many of our partners. The situations have become more complex. The basic needs and support and safety have become even bigger challenges to secure. And as I said, the degree and severity of the violence has gotten worse. I just want to share, in one very violent case, a victim stated to one of our advocates that when the whole world has shut down, she said, "You are all still there, ready to help me. And for that, I cannot thank you enough." And I often tell victim survivors that they are surrounded by a community who cares about their well-being, who truly values them and their children, that there are 911 operators, police and sheriffs and county attorneys and city attorneys, domestic abuse clerks, probation officers, and the bench who deeply care about their safety, and that there's public health and MFIP and workers ready to assist them and their children. And we're also blessed with an amazing, amazing array of community-based domestic violence programs and shelters within Ramsey County and just outside of it. Casa de Esperanza, Women's Advocates, Women in Nation, Breaking Free, Hubman, and Asian Women United, who are all there with us for victims 24 hours a day. And I really sincerely like to say that then there are all of you, our community leaders, our county commissioners, and you keep victim safety at the forefront of everything you do. And I want you to know how much your work and your commitment protects and changes the lives of victims and their children every day. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I know that I am seeing reactions on the screen, and I just put up my clap hands. You're seeing them go up, but also the smiles on our faces. We know that these are difficult times, and especially for those who may suffer from abuse. We just thank you so much for your continuing attention to ensuring that there is work, community work, collaborative work that surrounds them with the attention that they need today. Very, very much appreciation for you being here with us, and please continue the great work. And so I want to now
Commissioner Carter?
Yes.
I had my hand raised.
Oh, I'm very, very sorry. I wasn't looking. Apologize.
Okay.
Commissioner Reinhardt.
Well, and I just wanted to thank, actually with the first proclamation and with this one, with the first proclamation for Project Remand, the GPS that we tested and really worked with folks on really made a difference, also specifically in domestic violence. And I just wanted to state that well, as my colleagues know, I was one in 3 as far as domestic violence in my first marriage. And I just want to say that in the 1980s, which was when I got the help, the tools that I needed for me and my 2 sons, it was Ramsey County. Ramsey County Commissioner Bob Orth and Wilder had a program at the time that provided the tools. And if you can think back to the 1980s, mid-1980s, that was a time when you just didn't talk about it. I was embarrassed and didn't know what to do, and it was Ramsey County. The reason that I'm alive today is because of Ramsey County and the work, even the commitment back then to work with people that were dealing with domestic violence. And so I wanted to call that out and just know how important it is for the work that SPIP is doing and the services that are there and available, and especially now. It is so important, especially now, because there is hope. And that's no matter when I've talked about this, I just want people to understand that there is hope. There are people, there are the services, as Shelley pointed out, even in this time. The services are there for you, probably more so in this time. And so that was just the message that I wanted to provide. I also want to say, because it's important for me to say it, is that I just celebrated my 29th wedding anniversary with my husband and our 2 sons and grandchildren, and it was absolutely wonderful. But it's important to JP that I say that. So it was my previous marriage that there was domestic violence. And again, the message is pretty clear. There is hope. Just reach out. Thank you.
Commissioner Reinhardt, thank you so much for that personal testimony and for the statement that there is hope. And I am looking at the screen right now, so I do see Commissioner Matas-Castillo.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Commissioner Reinhardt, and happy anniversary. And it is great to have new beginnings and long-standing ones. So happy anniversary to you and JP. You know, I was thinking as you were talking, there might be someone listening that needs to reach out. And so I was wondering if we could just ask Shelley to share if there is someone who needs help that might be listening or catch this. How do they get in touch with SPIP so that they can get the help they need? I just wanted to give you the opportunity any chance we can, because there could be kiddos or loved ones that are hurting. And so how do they reach you, Shelley?
Absolutely. There is multilingual support available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if people would just call our crisis line at 651-645-2824, and I'll repeat that one more time, 651-645-2824. It's 24 hours a day. It is completely confidential, and we have multiple languages available to help, and our advocates were there for you. So please reach out, get the help you deserve. You will be treated with respect, and you'll be treated kindly.
Thank you so much, Shelley, and thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thanks once again, Shelley and Rebecca, for being here with us on this call. I'm glad you didn't depart before those statements were made. And now we are going to turn then back to our agenda for COVID information, as is typical in our board meetings. County Manager O'Connor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, good morning. The COVID information is linked to, as this is not our, I'm actually here, so you'll find me in a second. I'm doing it. The COVID information is linked to in the board packet. This is our off week where we are not doing a full COVID update, but there were a couple of pieces of information that I did want to share briefly this morning, as there are developments that were important to bring forward. First, on testing, the Minnesota Department of Health has been in communications with our public health department and have reported that they are close to an agreement to announce semi-permanent saliva testing, first at an interim location as they work on the long-term semi-permanent location. We are hoping for that announcement to happen within the next few days, seeing as how November 1st is only a few days away. That'll run 7 days a week and be accessible throughout as a semi-permanent location across our community, in addition to all the other testing work that is being done both by our healthcare systems and Ramsey County testing events, and our continued work to expand testing at Bethesda. So stay tuned for more on a semi-permanent testing location announcement from the Minnesota Department of Health. We had a mask event on Saturday, October 24th, where we handed out reusable cloth face coverings to 610 people. A total of 3,351 masks were handed out during that event, which continues to demonstrate the importance and power of working to get in community and the work of our racial equity and community engagement response team who led this work. It was busy the entire 4 hours that the event took place. In addition to the masks, there were over 300 boxes of food at 30 pounds a box. So if you do the math, half a ton of food, and over 300 gallons of milk that were also distributed during that time. We want to acknowledge Second Harvest and Reverend Joshua Miller, the Jehovah Lutheran Church staff, at Thomas and Snelling Avenue, for providing the food boxes. Second Harvest brought 200 food boxes and we ran out in less than an hour. Later in the day, we found out that Jehovah Lutheran had extra food boxes. They stepped up, their team packed up cars and brought over more food, which gets to how this is truly a community effort together. After the event, we were also able to provide masks to residents at our Best Western Hotel sheltering program. And we then also were planning to now send out 2,192 masks for individuals who indicated interest, but were unable to come to the event physically. I personally want to thank Sarah and Prince from our Racial Equity Community Engagement Response Team, everybody else as staff who are serving on that team, Karma from Emergency Management, the entire Emergency Management Department. It was a big planning effort, but as you can see from the results, it clearly made a difference. I wanted to also share with you that effective October 26th through November 9th, after a positive test result at Lake Owasso residents, we now have implemented strict policies to prevent the spread of COVID-19, meaning no visitors, no overnight visits, no outings that are not medically necessary as determined by nursing, no day program attendance, and residents cannot commingle with residents of other houses even when outside. These are tough restrictions to put in place, but they're important to ensuring that we protect staff and residents at Lake Owasso, and I wanted to share that update here with you. Finally, on the mHealth Fairview Bethesda project that has been ongoing, just some brief updates across 4 areas. In community engagement, there's been much work over the last week developing focused conversations and surveys to a variety of stakeholders. The next community conversation town hall is scheduled for this Thursday, October 29th from 5 to 6:30 p.m. It's designated as a listening session in which we will collate themes of what we are hearing and then answer questions from our subject matter experts. We continue to encourage residents and interested parties to please go to ramseycounty.us/Bethesda for updates. Interested parties can choose to subscribe to a weekly update email that is issued every Friday afternoon. Last week, we met with mHealth Fairview and St. Paul leadership and are excited to all move ahead with clinical services planning for Bethesda in partnership with mHealth Fairview. A joint team has been formed this week, and it'll include cross-organizational clinical leadership and other subject matter experts to ensure that we develop aligned clinical and testing programs so that we ensure that what's happening on the ground, both at Bethesda and in unsheltered communities, is all aligned with our other services being planned. We had good progress last week on the security pieces of our contracting there and feel like that is on track and progressing as hoped. And just generally good progress last week in our work with staff at the Capital Area Planning Board as we work through their permitting and zoning process, and we will be meeting with their staff on Thursday, October 29th. We know that our deadlines and timelines hinge upon those pieces moving forward, and we look forward to the CAP Board helping us provide leadership as we work to bring an important project to this community before the calendar date of winter hits. It already feels like winter outside and is a reminder of the urgency that we all face. Again, the COVID information on the dashboard and other public health information can be found on our website and is also linked to in the board documentation. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very, very much. I appreciate that you have, although we've not had a full update, you shared those items which needed to come before us in the COVID information today. And we're thankful that it is all on our site and can be viewed by anyone interested in keeping track. And as is usual, then I'll ask for a brief moment of silence as we continue through our multiple emergencies. Thank you. As the challenges are great and we have a community that is pulling together, we will continue to briefly recognize that each week. We are moving on then to our administrative items. Commissioner Fretham.
I will move item 6, Ramsey County Emergency Communications 911 phone system refresh from the Emergency Communications Department. Item 7, reappointment of Ramsey County Assessor. Item 8, reimbursement for 2020 civil unrest activities. Item 9, decision to hold a closed meeting on October 27th, 2020 to consider strategy for labor negotiations.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. There's a motion. Thank you. There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All items have been moved forward except for item number 7. Without discussion?
I thought all were moved forward.
I'm sorry, I did pull item number 7 for recognition. 7 was pulled. Thank you.
Which one was that? I'm sorry, because the numbers are not correct here, so on my agenda. So which item did you pull?
Reappointment of Ramsey County Assessor.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
All items have been moved forward except at this time for item number 7. There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Not. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Fretham.
Aye.
Modis Castillo.
Aye.
McDonough.
Aye.
McGuire.
Aye.
Ortega.
Aye.
Reinhardt.
Aye.
Carter.
Aye. Thank you very much. I pulled item number 7, which is reappointment of our Ramsey County Assessor, Luis Rosario. Is there a motion to get it on the table, please?
So moved.
Move approval. Second.
There's a motion and a second. And I just pulled it because I wanted to say thank you so very, very much to our assessor, Luis Rosario. I don't know if he's in the room at this time. However, I did want to recognize the great work that has been done by our assessor, both internally and externally on behalf of Ramsey County and all of our community. Certainly the work that has been done inside the department, enhancing the department, moving forward, our hiring and our work to ensure a diverse workforce and the engagement of talent in that area is recognizable. And as well as this period of time during which we have had factors that have had a bearing on our community, our properties, and assessments in that regard. The civil unrest is an item that we moved forward to recognize and to reimburse for damages during the civil unrest. There has been just a lot of work to do. And I wanted to say thank you so much to the assessor and to express how much I know this entire board, I have at least one hand up, is excited that we are excited to in fact recognize and reappoint the Ramsey County Assessor, Luis Rosario. I am going to check in with Commissioner Modis Castillo and then back to the chambers for the county manager. Commissioner Modis Castillo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I also want to echo my support. You know, it's not, lots of people don't even know who their assessor is, but if you haven't had the opportunity to meet Luis Rosario, you are truly missing out. Luis performs his work not only with expertise and knowledge, but with compassion and really thoughtfulness about how do we engage, how do we evaluate properties, but how do you go above and beyond? And so I've had the opportunity to work with Luis on several occasions on issues related to constituents, and he always goes above and beyond. He takes his time, he explains, he thinks creatively about how he can help folks. And I will tell you, I have had many phone calls from constituents who said, you know, they got their property evaluation in the mail and they had questions, and he picks up the phone, he answers questions, and leads his department with really, truly good customer service. And so I really think this is an area that folks, you know, it might go unnoticed to most, but if it is, it's because it's working so well. And for those who have had the opportunity to work with Luis and his entire team, and with the whole department and across departments, because Luis is involved in work that we're doing around affordable housing and with EGCI, and it really truly demonstrates the partnership across our jurisdictions in Ramsey County and the work that he's done. And so, Luis, thank you for being here and part of the Ramsey County team and allowing us to reappoint you again.
Thank you, Commissioner Manis-Castillo. I'm turning back then to County Manager O'Connor to find out if we have Luis in the chambers and just to hear from you. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members, you do, but we had a conversation before today, and his request was that we wait until the entire process runs its course, and he'll be back to deliver his full speech. So after today, after the board takes the step of reappointing him as the county assessor, there are a series of final checks that occur at the state level as the process finalizes. And so my commitment to you and Luis's commitment is to come back and share some thoughts at an upcoming meeting, and that would be his preference. So I would ask if we could do that. In the meantime, I will let your words stand. We are enthusiastic about this opportunity to ask you to reappoint Luis. He has done a wonderful job of leading from the front and demonstrating our vision, mission, and values all the time as a Ramsey County employee. And so I extend my thanks as well.
Thank you. And then we will move forward with our decision, lacking additional hands at this time. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Fretham.
Aye.
Manis-Castillo.
Aye.
McDonough.
Aye.
McGuire.
Aye.
Ortega.
Aye.
Reinhardt.
Aye.
Carter.
Aye. Thank you very much. The motion passes, although I think Commissioner Manis-Castillo has a frog in her throat.
It wasn't me, I said yes.
I know. Okay. So we're going to go on then to a couple of items on the 2021 Capital Improvement Program bond. The first item, number 11, is waiving the first reading of the 2021 Capital Improvement Program bond ordinance. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
There is a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I just want to check in. You had originally, as we had talked earlier, asked if the finance director could briefly review the capital bond piece. Would you like us to do that?
You know what? I thank you very much for reminding me of my request. And yes, we do have the finance director here with us to review.
We do. She's ready. I'll turn it over to Director Alex Kutza to briefly recap the capital bond purchase process and what's about to happen.
I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Thank you. So today in front of you is the waiving of the first reading for our 2021 Capital Improvement Program bond ordinance and also the setting of the public hearing. So this starts the process of a little earlier than we have in prior years of making sure that we are ready to sell bonds in January for our 2021 Capital Improvement Program. The reason it's a little different and the reason I asked to move it up this year is twofold. Really, number one is if we start now, it provides us an opportunity then to get the bond funding sooner and start our projects sooner in 2021. And second, this year we're doing the recycling and energy, which was before you last week, and it aligns both of them. So when we come back on November 17th, we will be seeing both the second, waiving the second reading and the public hearing for both of those. And then going forward, we will have those going together and have the rating agencies look at those together. The other thing I want to mention is this in no way changes your ability to look at the projects as you consider the 2021 proposed budget changes, which have been before you. And we talk about what the capital project program looks like in 2021. This is just setting the maximum. And as we talk about affordable housing and how we look at investing there, this is not going to change that discussion. And we have plenty of time till January to make any reductions or changes as needed within that dollar amount. I'm happy to answer any questions, and I'm excited to do this a little bit ahead of time to see how it works for us this year.
Thank you very much, Director Kutza, for the early preparation and for the alignment that is happening with this bond issuance. I am looking to see if there are hands raised. Wanted Alex to share with us just that overview because it is slightly different, but certainly understandable. And I appreciate the information that you've given us in advance as well. I do have one question from Commissioner Reinhardt or comment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to also thank Alex. We are, there's all kinds of things that are changing, but I think with the passage of the bonding bill and the other items that are in that as well, but specifically for the Recycling and Energy Center and the things that we are doing there to improve the environment with recycling and organics composting is very exciting. And to basically think ahead to make sure that we're getting the best deal that we can for those bonds and getting things started quicker in 2021. So, I mean, all of those reasons that Alex described are very positive reasons for us to move forward at this point, and it doesn't limit what we can do as we go forward either. So I just wanted to thank her personally.
Thank you, Commissioner Reinhardt. And so we appreciate the description and summary of this first bond ordinance. And we are on the motion to waive the first reading. I see no hands raised. There's a motion and a second. And so the clerk will please call the roll.
Fretham.
Aye.
Modis Castillo.
Aye.
McDonough.
Aye.
McGuire.
Aye.
Ortega.
Aye.
Reinhardt.
Aye.
Carter.
Aye. And thank you very much. The motion passes. We're on to number 12, which is 2021 Capital Improvement Program Bond Ordinance, setting the public hearing date for November 17th, 2020 at 9:00 a.m.
Move approval.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you very much. Is there any discussion? And will the clerk please call the roll?
Fretham.
Aye.
Modis Castillo.
Aye.
McDonough. McDonough.
Let's see if we can catch up with him
Okay.
at the end of this.
Yep. McGuire.
Aye.
Ortega. Ortega.
I think we have a couple of problems.
Yes. Reinhardt.
Aye.
Carter.
Aye. I do see Commissioner Ortega back on the screen.
Ortega. McDonough.
Let's try.
McDonough, we're taking the vote.
Looks like they're just coming back in. Oops. Okay.
Ortega.
Aye.
Thank you. McDonough.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, we were willing to wait for it, and the motion passes. We're moving on to policy item number 13, which is public hearing for unmanned aerial vehicles. I will ask for a motion to get this on the table. Or let me check in with our county manager. Perhaps we should hear it first.
Madam Chair, do you want to put it on the table first before any discussion?
Yeah. Thank you.
So moved,
I'll ask for that motion.
Second.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Thank you. There's a motion and a second. And so now in discussion, I'll check in with the county manager to see if we have a presentation. Thank you.
Madam Chair, there is no presentation planned on the public hearing date. Deputy County Manager Williams and I are here. We would say that the item has the background and information as provided as a request for board action. If you have additional questions, the Sheriff's Office is not here this morning to answer them, and we would need to either follow up or choose to lay this over for a week to ensure that they could be here to answer any questions that you may have.
I understand it is on the agenda for setting a public hearing, at which time the Sheriff's Office would be here. And I will turn to the screen to see if there are questions. Commissioner Fretham.
I saw in the proposal that we are soliciting public comment as well as the Sheriff's Office. Will the comments received by each area be shared with one another?
Commissioner Fretham, Chair Carter, I don't have a specific answer to that at this time, and without the Sheriff's Office here to answer that, I do not want to speculate on their behalf.
Commissioner Fretham, thank you for that question, and that is certainly one that we would want to share with the sheriff and have the county manager's office investigate the extent to which those comments will be interchanged. Thank you. Are there other questions or comments? We are in the motion, with a motion and a second, to set the public hearing for November 24th on public hearing for unmanned aerial vehicles. Thanking you for your comment, Commissioner Fretham, and request to find out about the interchange of information requested as public input. Without further discussion, would the clerk please call the roll?
Fretham.
Aye.
Matas Castillo.
Aye.
McDonough.
Aye.
McGuire.
Aye.
Ortega.
Aye.
Reinhardt.
Aye.
Carter.
Aye, thank you very much.
Madam Chair, we will follow up on that specific question from Commissioner Fretham and provide a response to the board from the Sheriff's Office.
Thank you very much. And now on to number 14, which is a policy discussion regarding delicensing beds at Ramsey County Care Center. Call on the county manager.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, I am going to ask Ann Berry, Department Director for Social Services, to provide a brief overview about this policy item. Following the presentation and any discussion today, the intent would be to bring this item back as a board action moving forward, but we wanted to come before the board first in a non-action setting to be able to share this information with you to ensure policy alignment and direction. Mrs. Berry.
Thank you, County Manager O'Connor. Madam Chair and Commissioners, I am Ann Berry, the Social Services Director. What you have in front of you is a recommendation out of Social Services. It is a time-sensitive request, which is why we are bringing it to you now. As County Manager O'Connor has said, we want to discuss the policy today, and then we would bring an administrative action next week. In our earlier presentations to you, whether it was around performance measures, the budget, or just a description of the care center, during our health and wellness service team updates, we talked about some of the changes that are taking place at the Ramsey County Care Center. And this is something that we've been thinking about, working with the people we care for and our staff, as well as the community, as we thought about what and who we are as a care center well into the future. We cannot move ahead with this proposal without board approval. The Department of Human Services and the Health Department both require that our board provide us with approval for delicensing of beds. And there are really two factors that are driving this discussion today and this recommendation to you. One is our clients want single rooms. We have lost many referrals to the Ramsey County Care Center because we didn't have any single rooms. We've since made some single rooms, and we are therefore able to keep up our census, but it means we have fewer beds available when we use single rooms. The other is we have been carrying beds in the care center for many years that have not been bed budgeted and have not been used. So you can see in the policy description we provided you that even prior to COVID, we were running well below 140 beds used, both in 2018 and 19. Now with COVID, we're running somewhere less than 120 beds. We expect that our usage will go back up in our facility following the pandemic, but again, with two driving factors, one being we have not been using those beds for a long time, and our clients really do want single beds. We think this is the right time to de-license beds. Another reason to do this is we pay a surcharge to the Minnesota Department of Human Services for the beds that we carry, whether we use them or not. It doesn't make financial sense for us to continue to have these beds licensed when we have no intention of using them. So that's a summary of the description that you have in front of you. We still believe we'll have plenty of capacity to serve the people of Ramsey County at the care center, both as a nursing home and as a transitional care unit. So that's all I have. If there are questions.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Castillo has a question.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Ann, for that update. I just want to congratulate you and your team on this change. I've visited the care center on numerous occasions, and the quality of care provided by the staff is outstanding, and yet the building needs some changes, and so changes to the rooms of privacy. It's just a new standard of care in 2020 than maybe 20 years ago, and so I really appreciate this move in this direction, in addition to keeping people safe in private rooms and more dignity. So I just wanted to commend you for that work, and I support this move.
Thank you. Commissioner Reinhardt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I also am very supportive of this. As a county, we have been very diligent about residents first and the respect that and the continuum from prenatal to seniors to those needing special services. We really try to offer the dignity and the respect that every single person deserves. And that's what this is about. And the care that people are provided at the Ramsey County Care Center is absolutely excellent. Having been there and visited people that were there, but also for different events and just the general atmosphere of what's being provided there. And with the transitional care unit, it's been there for a bit now, but we have expanded how we provide services to meet the need, again, for the dignity and respect that everyone deserves. The most important part about what we are talking about today is really the line about creating single bedrooms. 30 single bedrooms will be available, and out of the 80, and it's to me it is just, or excuse me, 84 I guess it was. But the fact that we are really looking at what do people want and need for themselves, but also the loved ones, making sure that they're getting the compassionate care that they need in a setting that is comfortable for them. And so I commend the staff for bringing this forward and am excited to move forward with it. It also obviously helps with the bottom line, which helps with all of the services that are provided within our county as well. So thank you for bringing it forward. I am supportive, and I see nothing but positives coming forward since these beds weren't used anyway. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Reinhardt. Commissioner McDonough.
Thanks, Chair Carter. I just wanted to express my support too. I think this is well thought out. Certainly through the lens of residents first, focusing on the individuals that would be looking for the services we provide, but also, as Commissioner Reinhardt just pointed out, the taxpayers that pay for this and being as creative as we possibly can to leverage all the resources to provide this benefit to the community. So I'm looking forward to this coming back and being able to vote yes on it.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner McGuire.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just want to add my support and gratitude for taking this step. I just have a question about the single versus the double. Is it a goal to get to more single, or because it is the trend that people really want single beds, so we still have more double bedrooms than single bedrooms. So I'm just curious what our goal, our ultimate goal is, or we'll see now. I mean, will we still have some open beds because people are still not going to want to be in double rooms, right? Could you just talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. Madam Chair and Commissioner McGuire, I think this is the right point for us to look at the 30 single beds, and then every year going forward, we take a look at what is it that clients want. We're still providing traditional or transitional care, and you often see transitional care done in double rooms. That is not uncommon in other facilities. So I think we also have to take a look in the future at the mix of clients and people that we're serving. But right now, we think this is a really good start, given that we went from no single beds to now 30. So we want to start at this place and not get too deeply into single beds, because we also are serving a lot of transitional care clients who are more accustomed to being in and out of the facility, and double rooms work in that situation.
And Madam Chair, Commissioners, if I could add just one point, Commissioner McGuire, I think this is included in the request for board action language, but I think it is important to recognize this is a discrete decision being made to address what we can right now, and it doesn't necessarily portend longer range thinking, which doesn't mean it shouldn't happen. It's just, I wouldn't take this as a signal for any of that. This is a moment in time where this is a decision that we believe needs to be made on a timeline that needs to be made. COVID is extremely difficult. You've cited many of the reasons why this makes sense now. We'll come back for those further discussions when timing is better. And in the meantime, I also just want to applaud our care center leadership and staff, all the way up through social services as well, for keeping people safe through COVID. They have been doing a wonderful job. This has been a place where we've spent time together in check-ins, and that is a hard environment for everybody to be working in right now, and a sincere and heartfelt thank you to everybody there.
And thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate that, and just that extra information is really helpful. And I want to take this opportunity to thank the Care Center, for their forward thinking. They rose to the occasion when we had the Suburban Ramsey Emergency Coalition that was looking to do some helping in the community. And they said, well, we need gowns that we don't have to throw away. We can be better for the environment. We can be better for the staff, and the Suburban Ramsey Emergency Coalition got volunteers to make 200 gowns. So I just want to thank them for stepping forward and saying, yes, here's something that we can all work on together. So I do appreciate the staff there and the work that they're doing, and thank you for this movement forward.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Reinhardt? Do you have your hand up?
Thank you. Yes. Thank you, Madam Chair. I do want to point out one of the things that was stated. I mean, we have made a lot of changes at the Care Center over the years to try to make sure that we are meeting the needs that people want, again, for themselves and for their loved ones. And I think that one of the biggest things that we did was the transitional care unit, and realizing that folks needed that. We're a small player in that particular market, but that's okay, because the transitional care obviously is for people that have been hospitalized, but they're not quite ready to go home yet. And so I can see where the double bedrooms, I should say, with single beds in them, is appropriate, and it sounds as though that is what is done in other locations as well. I do want to point out that because the beds that we are asking to, or will ask to be de-licensed, are not used right now, this doesn't have an impact on the staffing that we have. And in fact, as I said, and as Director Berry said, this is saving money, but it's because of the fee that we pay on those beds. It is because the staff is going to have as much work to do and do it very well as they have in the past, because these were unused for many years. So it's not something that's a result of COVID. So I think that that's important. But I think just as with anything that we provide services, we're always evolving and trying to figure out the best ways to do things. But I just wanted to point that out, that this does not have an impact on staffing, but rather a better use of the funds that we are simply paying to the state for the licensing of those beds that we don't use.
Thank you, Commissioner Reinhardt. And thank you to you all and to our staff for managing both services and facilities through a process of reviewing and updating to provide the very best care and the most respectful environment possible for everyone. And let's see, with that, we have a motion and a second on the floor. I see no further hands.
Madam Chair,
so,
there is,
yes.
This was an information item only, so there is no action
Yes,
today. We'll bring it
sorry.
back. Yep.
Gotcha. Thank you for the discussion, for bringing this forward to us, and we will look forward in a coming meeting to a policy item, an action item.
Thank you.
So once again, we have concluded our agenda of items coming before us, and we are at the point of county connections. I'll call on the county manager.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just one update from me. I think the COVID update served as some of our connections and where work is happening. I received a great letter this week, and I'm going to keep the sender of the letter private, but it was very appreciated that it was sent in. And it was a 2-page letter that talks about their experience with the county, and I wanted to read a bit about it. When you get a letter, you sometimes brace for what might come next. You don't always know. And in this case, part of the letter read, "We are reaching out to share our experience with children's crisis because we want you to know how critically important and effective these services and professionals have been for our family and so many others. Really, it's been essential to getting us to where we are today. Not healed, but healing. I know our situation could have devolved into much greater trauma and likely would have without crisis's intervention. That Ramsey County provides this kind of high level of support to families in crisis in their homes, in person, should be recognized and applauded. We want to acknowledge what truly talented and valuable staff you have in Aman Sabry and Meg Westerland, and especially Sherry Boone. They are truly gifted in their work, and I know firsthand how they positively impact lives, families, and our community. We have benefited greatly from this program, and we want other families to do so too. If there's another way we can demonstrate our support and gratitude for this deeply impactful program, we hope you'll let us know." I think reading their words is the best way to do that. So I want to say thank you to the sender of the letter. I followed up to share that with them personally. But to our staff, to Eamon and Meg and Sherry, thank you for the work you have done to touch the lives of a family and ensure that the crisis they were facing did not devolve into a worse crisis. I know that represents the work that we seek to show across the county every day. And while there are moments when we clearly fall short of that level, we will continue to strive for that being the standard by which we do our work. Thank you, Madam Chair. I have no further updates.
And thank you so very, very much. Thank you to the staff that was mentioned in the letter, and also to the family for letting us know it is good to hear the stories of the work that is being done. That is, in fact, why we are here. And so we appreciate that story so much. Thank you for County Connections. And we are going to move on then to board member updates. I will start the updates with Commissioner Matas-Castillo and go alphabetically back up to Commissioner Fretham at the end.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A couple quick updates. I had had a series of meetings with district councils across the city of St. Paul talking about our homelessness and housing response, and just want to thank the Como District Council and the Payne-Phelan District Council. People are deeply engaged. Community members are very concerned about our neighbors who are experiencing homelessness and are unsheltered, and they want to know how they can help and support. And so it was a very, both of them were very good meetings where community members shared their concerns and really felt engaged and part of the support of our work going forward. So just want to thank them for inviting me to meet with them. On that same note, we have a couple more town halls scheduled to hear from community about our work in shelter around Bethesda, but also our greater work on housing those who are experiencing homelessness. And the first one is this Thursday evening on the 29th, and more updates are on our website at ramseycounty.us. So just want to invite folks who are interested and want to participate. I also had an opportunity yesterday to join our Community Advisory Council, which is the chairs of all the subcommittees from chemical health to developmental disabilities and adult disabilities. And so that group continues to do great work and information to really help guide our work. They got an update on legislative priorities as the legislative team is kind of shopping what our priorities will be, and we'll receive those later this fall. But just want to thank the community advisory councils for their work and involvement. And then last thing, there is another new tool, additional tool that Public Works team and our consultants have a great website around the redesign of Rice Street. We've been doing some active work on community engagement and design from a community design perspective. And so the latest update on tools is now online, taking a look at not just Rice Street, but what does the impact on side streets. And so we are seeking input on that as well. So I encourage people to log onto our website and take the survey about the impact of side streets as we redesign that main thoroughfare. So with that, I'll stand. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Commissioner McDonough.
No report. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner McGuire.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And while the legislature conducted such great business last time, I just want to say that they don't have any meetings planned. They're all focused on their election, and they may need to be called back into special session to continue their ongoing resolution. But there's no meeting scheduled at this time, and we're still grateful for the bonding bill that they passed. So that's the legislative report. Just want to give a shout out to our elections department because they had a great town hall meeting last Tuesday evening, and this past Tuesday evening, and they did a great job answering a lot of the community's questions. I just want to say today's a big day because today's the day where you can actually put your ballot into a counter. So we've opened three more voting sites in addition to the ones that have been open, and they are actually four more. And all this information is on our website. So go to ramseycounty.us and look for the elections information, and you can find out where to vote, and you can actually put your ballot into a counter. So thank you to our elections department who continues to do a great job. Just want to say many of us have been to Revolution, and it's starting virtually today, but they've had they're doing a lot of virtual meetings, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I'm not going to be able to go to as many meetings as I would if I was in person because there's too many conflicts, but it's great to see that they're continuing their great work of a lot of biking and walking and transit opportunities to learn at Revolution. We had our AMC District 10 meeting. Most of us were there, which was really exciting that we were all there to vote. This was a big important day or a big important meeting because we get to vote on our priorities. You know, statewide, they present different options for our legislative priorities, and we all got to vote on that. So I hope everyone cast their vote for that, and we'll be getting the outcome of those votes at the meetings, and so we'll see where AMC is going to put their efforts. But thanks to all of you who were able to be at that meeting. It's just really important for us to weigh in on these issues. Also, Commissioner Fretham and I are working on gaps in child care. I know that our board chair has appointed a subcommittee to look at gaps in child care, and we had actually a meeting with Suburban Ramsey Family Collaborative, who brought together schools, providers, the county, and to talk about this really crisis that we have in child care now. And so we're also working on that in Ramsey County. We're setting up a group, so we'll keep you posted on that. You'll be hearing more this week, hopefully, or next week, about how we're moving forward on that. And I asked Commissioner Fretham to say any more about that. This is really a big effort for her as well. So I'll let her talk. And then the last thing I'm gonna talk about is the Blue Ribbon Committee that I'm on for Metropolitan Council governance structure and transportation and transit. And so we had it was really our final meeting of just information gathering. And we heard from Metro Cities, Citizens League, Suburban Transit Association, the League of Women Voters, the MICA, Minnesota Inter-County Association, and the Metro Governance Transparency Initiative. And this was after hearing from the legislative auditor and from hearing from all different organizations talking about the structure of the Met Council. So at our next meeting, which will be in 2 weeks, they've asked each member of the group, and there's like 15 of us on this Blue Ribbon Committee, to give a 2-minute, what we want to see moving forward with Met Council. So I ask all of you to help weigh in with me. I'm going to give a couple minutes of where we want to see, how we want to see the Met Council structured and where we want to see it go as far as transit and transportation. So this is a big deal, and I'm wondering, Madam Chair, if even we want to have a meeting about that, but that's coming up. They were just asking for that because our discussion will be starting now. We meet every 2 weeks. They would like a report out by December, and there's it's a lot of great conversation and discussion going on in that committee. So we maybe can think about if we want to have a bigger discussion on that. But I definitely value all of your opinions on how we work with how we structure the Met Council and what recommendations we might give. So thank you for that, Madam Chair. There may or may not be any changes to what they're doing, but that's what we're looking into at the request of the governor. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Commissioner McGuire, and for the opportunity to consider how we in fact reflect on that work that is happening. We will do so and get back with our entire board. Commissioner Ortega?
No report, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Reinhardt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, there has been a lot that's been going on. I do want to highlight just a couple of things. Commissioner McGuire covered some of the things, but I do think the county elections town hall that was held last Tuesday was absolutely fantastic. And there is such a commitment, as we know, within our elections department to make sure that every voter that can vote, that is eligible to vote, that their vote counts. And so really, as Commissioner McGuire said, encourage folks to look at that, to vote. Most important thing you can do to make a difference. I also wanted to say, or to talk just a little bit again about the Recycling and Energy Center and the exciting things that we are doing. When we purchased that facility, we made a commitment, and we are following through on that, to look at new technologies and the durable compostable bags, the pulling out of recyclables, and the difference that that's going to make is going to be pretty incredible. And we're moving forward with that with the help of bonding from the state. So again, thanks to them. I also wanted to point out that I know that we're all going to so many virtual meetings, and I've been on a couple of virtual tours of different locations, whether it was Ramsey County Extension, the Clean Water Council. but I was able to attend the MICA Northeast Metro area virtual bus tour of facilities for people needing shelter or services in different locations. And it was pretty amazing. Commissioner Modis-Castillo was part of that as well. But I love the way that they do it. People are being so innovative as far as how we get information out and getting it out to as many people as possible. So I just want to thank them, but also thank the creativeness of our partners as we're moving forward and our participation in that as well. So I do want to point out there's one thing that actually was, I believe, advertised or highlighted within our Ramsey County website, but there is a truckload of food. The St. Paul Regional Labor Federation food giveaway is late this afternoon, or mid-afternoon, I should say, 4 o'clock, and it is free food giveaway, 30-pound boxes of food, open to everyone. And it's today at 4 o'clock. The address is 353 West 7th Street in St. Paul. That is the Labor Center. And they ask that you enter through the parking lot on the West 7th Street for drive-through contactless loading into your vehicle. And they're doing this until, while supplies last. So wanted to give another shout out for the work that our labor friends are doing, and just the way the partners from across Ramsey County are pulling together to be a good neighbor. And so I just really appreciate that work and wanted to give that little shout out for this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you for the updates, Commissioner Reinhardt, and to all our neighbors. Thank you very, very much. Commissioner Fretham.
Thank you, Chair Carter. Just a few things. Wanted to also echo my appreciation for the elections town hall. Not only was it very informative, it was also very fun. So thank you to Prince Corbett and Karen Francois and all the staff who were involved in putting that on. It was a very enjoyable Zoom. Also want to send some thanks to the staff at Tamarack Nature Center. Their Halloween moon party this weekend was incredibly fun and felt very safe. They were very good about following the social distancing, but to be able to get out at the Nature Center and do some educational experiences was a very fun day for my family and the friends that we were able to bring with us. So thank you to the staff there. And then just finally, I know we had our COVID update, but a reminder that the pandemic is not over. And I wanted to send some special love this week to my Angelo family on the loss of Rick Angelo from COVID-19 last week. So, thank you.
Thank you very, very much. And certainly the family is included in our moment of silence as we reflect each week. I would just share that I want to give appreciation to all for being on the District 10 Association of Minnesota Counties meeting as well. And special thanks to Commissioner McGuire for the impact that she has been having as an executive committee member there. I want to note that there has not been a District 10 meeting as interesting and as engaging, I think, as the one we had. And I do believe that there are plans in place to work on making it even more engaging and impactful to us as we create a space for discussing those issues which are important to us across the metropolitan area for our concerns or for our collaborative work. And so I look forward to seeing that happen in the future. I was on the NACO, National Association of Counties, federal policy update as well, and kudos to our NACO staff for the work that they are doing, attending to the movement forward at the legislature, but also attending to what can happen in future years as a potential change or same administration takes hold in January. They are preparing for all possibilities and putting plans in place to assist us as a country of counties. I did attend also the St. Paul budget meeting, the budget engagement session this past Saturday, which was a good collection of community responding to the needs in St. Paul. I was attending our Ramsey County elections and voting meeting and want to say thanks, as others have already issued, for such a community engaged conversation as was had there around elections and voting. Very, very many questions and a lot of support for what is happening in Ramsey County. Or I should say there weren't as many questions, but very much support for what is happening in Ramsey County around preparing for fair and safe and equitable elections. I attended yesterday a meeting of the Community or Criminal Justice Coordinating Committee. I always want to say Community Justice Coordinating Committee. And that was very well attended by our city and suburbs, representatives from the councils, representatives from the police departments, from our sheriff, from the courts, corrections, our public defender's office, public health, our racial and health equity administrators were there, representatives from the Juvenile Detention Alternatives Initiative, and also, of course, from community. It was an excellent discussion of the work that has been happening in 2019 and the work planned in 2020 and the work planned for 2021. I guess I want to skip 2020, you guys. In any case, we did get to meet a new pretrial services vendor from Justice Point who will be taking over, as we talked about before, in pretrial services. The work that had been previously done by Project Remand over many, many years is being transformed in this coming period, and Justice Point is the new vendor who also was represented at the meeting. We had the opportunity to talk about the accomplishments from this past year, including bail reform, of course, all of the work around COVID and the adjustments that were made during that time included. We were able to also get a report from the Second District Courts concerned about the multiplication of cases as the clearance rate is lower than had typically been the case, and they are working with us and with the community on ways to clear cases faster so that they don't pile up, and also so that warrants are not being issued disproportionately. So that is serious work that's going on right now, in which we are engaged in assisting. We also talked about the work that we've done to reduce reliance on fines and fees, with over $3 million, well, close to $3 million in Ramsey County initiated fines having been moved this past year, and the kind of legislative work that we may need to do to encourage flexibility at the courts in assigning fines, i.e. waiving the $75 surcharge that currently appears, or creating a sliding scale for charges. And so that is work that will go to our legislative committee, and we'll be talking about that in the coming year. Regarding 2019 accomplishments, warrant resolution days, the reduction of fines and fees, case diversion improvements, warrant walk-in pilot, we initiated the bail reform work group, and most of all, we welcomed community to the table. In 2021, the team discussed and supported a recommended agenda, which was to prioritize diversion and mental health alternatives, to host community conversations, to also work with our racial health and equity administrators on a journey to better understand the structural, historical, and institutional impacts of racism, and to begin planning post-conviction justice system enhancements in Ramsey County. So it's a big agenda. And I really appreciate the work of everyone coming to the table at the CJCC to continue moving our community justice alternatives and enhancements forward. So that's it for what I will share. As we look forward to the rest of our day, we're going to take a break before our Housing and Redevelopment Authority meeting, and Commissioner Maris Castillo will bring us back in for that. We'll take about a 10-minute break. We will then have a session a closed session to consider strategy for labor negotiations. And at 1:30 this afternoon, our health and wellness service team will meet, 1:30 certain, chaired by Commissioner Fretham. I'm looking, I don't see any hands, and that's a good thing because we are working toward the closure of this meeting. Having done all of our business, we are now adjourned.